We welcome in many of these radicals to the United States. They are all over the country. Well, I saw an imam denounce the radical ideology. This is an imam in the Western world, and he blames the Western world for taking in what he describes as Muslim garbage, meaning the radical extremists. Watch him lay it out.
Society also has garbage. You have murderers, criminals, and then you have filthy garbage ideology, where someone says, you're a woman, you should stay at home. Or someone says, you're a woman, you need to cover, your whole body is a private part, right? You need to cover up. Or someone says, this guy's a Jew, this guy's a Christian, they need to be, dealt with. This ideology is a filthy ideology. It cannot be respected.
No, it can't. And in fact, it's a deadly ideology, because if you don't agree with their radical way of thinking, they want you wiped off the face of the earth. Israel is literally proof of that and the attack that happened there. Now, what have we done in the United States? You look at Afghanistan, we pull out there and we bring in all kinds of people from Afghanistan, and we have no idea where their ideologies lie. It is very, very dangerous. Why does the Western world welcome in what that man describes as garbage when the Middle Eastern world, most of these countries, do not let any of these people in?
The IRGC cannot operate in Saudi Arabia. Their supporters cannot have bank accounts in the UAE. The other extremist groups, like the Muslim Brotherhood, who are friends with the IRGC and Hezbollah people, they cannot operate in Bahrain, in Oman. These are Muslim countries. Where do they operate? In London, in France, in Washington, D.C., in Australia, in Canada, Toronto. They operate here. They have bank accounts. They register charity.
Think about that. We allow these organizations, call them organizations, they're terror groups, to operate in places where freedom-loving Americans roam and live, including our friends and allies in Europe. Look at what has happened to Paris. Paris is a disaster with who they have let into that. They're getting terrorist attacks left and right. London as well, he mentioned. So now we get to the question, where does the crisis really lie? Is it with Islam, or is it with all of us and how we operate? He offered up this.
I say, no, you are in a crisis. You went to the Muslim countries and you imported the garbage that the Muslim countries wanted to put in prison or isolate away from society. You went and you imported them. Why? For cheap labor. But these Islamist extremists, they don't want to work. They want free welfare. They want to marry French women, blonde hair, blue eyes. They don't have time to work.
You see what he's spelling out? Everything that's going on here in America. We imported the garbage, is his quote. And any Islamic extremist terrorist that's willing to put a suicide bomb on his chest and blow up innocent civilians is garbage in my mind. We're importing that here. Just as our southern border's wide open, what are we importing? Poverty, criminality, sex trafficking, drugs. We are importing everything that literally, if you tried to ruin America, you would fill America with it. This guy's on to something, and guess what? He's not the only Muslim that is speaking out about this. The Minister of Foreign Affairs for the United Arab Emirates said this. I believe this is back in 2017, but it still holds true today. Listen to what he says about the Western world.
There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
Ignorance, to say the least. You want to see ignorance? We have that in Congress. Ignorance beyond belief. Members of the United States Congress that support these terror organizations like Hamas. Ilhan Omar. She got so upset when a reporter asked her to simply denounce Hamas. She can't do it.
Why don't you want the Israelis to go after the terrorists that did that? How many more killings is enough for you? Is it 1,000 more? 2,000 more? 3,000 more? How many more Palestinians would make you happy if they died? Will you be fine if all of the people of Gaza were gone? Would that make you happy? Would that be the thing that makes you proud?
Let's not forget, folks, Israel didn't invade Gaza. The Palestinians, under the ruse of Hamas, invaded Israel. Israel is defending itself. It is not on the warpath of attack. It is on the warpath of defense, and there's a huge difference there. Now, why would we be surprised that Ilhan Omar says and supports things like this? Let's flash back to when she said this about terrorist organizations responsible for killing American citizens, and she's proud to say their name.
Every time the professor said Al-Qaeda, he sort of like his shoulders went up, and
Yeah, he's in command here.
Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah.
He's an expert.
You don't say America with an intensity. You don't say England with an intensity. You don't say the army with an intensity.
Carter.
But you say these names because you want that word to carry weight.
That word doesn't carry any weight with me, other than the fact they need to be squashed out like the cockroaches that they are. See, when I say the United States Army, I am proud to say it, and I think it's one of the greatest fighting forces this world has ever seen. When I say the United States of America, you better believe I'm prouder than I've ever been in my life, because this is the greatest country in the world. And nobody, no terrorist, no deranged lunatic, no one in the name of some religion is going to blow up American citizens and get away with it, and I'm certainly not going to be proud of it, and I'm certainly not going to sit up and say Al-Qaeda and ISIS. What needs to happen with Al-Qaeda and ISIS and Hezbollah and Hamas and the others, they need to be eradicated.